Okay, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, chat. We're live. Let me go ahead and pin this.
Don't forget to post to your ex.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Yeah, let's see. All right, there we go. There's the... And pin. Okay. All right, let's see. Wow, they're closing down the Magic Eden wallet too. All right. Sorry, just saw a very interesting post. Not really anything I need to comment on here, but just very interesting. Very interesting. All right. We've got a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. It's a little bit more serious of a show. I'm going to start off. We're going to keep it light. I got some dating stuff to talk about because I think it'll be funny, and maybe maybe clippable. We got some stuff to talk about, and we'll have some fun for 10-15 minutes or so. And then we've got some serious stuff to talk about. So, all right, let's go ahead, bring in the bookmarks, Chris, and we'll get things going. All right, let's see. The New York Times has found that dating women in New York City is... New York Times has found that dating for women in New York City is so brutal that some dating events are charging women $100 and men nothing, and the attendance ratio is still 3-to-1 women to men. Look, the reality here... The reality here is that men just don't feel comfortable paying to go to dating events. I think there's a lot of guys in the New York area that are very down to date based off of my friend groups. And I think there's a lot of guys, period. Also, this is definitely not what they look like. Like, this is definitely not what these events tend to look like. Otherwise, I think guys would definitely come out. That's funny. No, I mean, this is just, I get it. I get what they're getting at. This is just not accurate. Let's see. There was context. Podcast on dating did describe a wine tasting mixer. Okay. However, it's a group of about 20 people, 15 women and 5 men. Yeah. This is just not representative. It's just not accurate. There are way more men than this is alluding to that are just looking for a date. Yeah, no, this is just not it. This is not it. It's like trying to say, oh, women are having it so tough in New York. No, like both sides are having it very, very tough. Majority of the city is women. I don't know about that. And then there's a huge proportion of gay guys. That is true. So the straight guys have it made. So the straight guys have it made, while women, it is brutal. Yeah, I don't know about that, Chief. I think it's just hard for both sides. I think both men and women in New York City are struggling. And for a lot of reasons. I mean, one of them, hold on. Oh, that's not it. It's also not it. Let's go back. God dang. There are so many bookmarks. So much to get through. Okay. One of them is because alcohol consumption is declining. Alcohol consumption... Hold on, let's try it one more time. Alcohol consumption is declining. There's been a lot of reasons, or a lot of people thinking as to why. Like, some people think, oh, people are turning to, different types of substances. So some people are turning to different types of substances. Other people are turning to, just healthier options, because people know generally that alcohol is not good for you. Let me see what Mike Malek had to say.
alcohol is in decline. Alcohol is in
that.
rapid, permanent decline, they're saying.
Yes.
There's just a lot of people out there who just don't want to drink alcohol anymore. It's very, it's very detrimental to your health, to your decision making, obviously. And so some people are going towards psychedelics. Some people are just doing drugs. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, but alcohol has become, it's in decline. And so what you're seeing along with that is you're seeing a lot of very alcohol dependent scenarios also decline, and that means super clubs, because there's really no way to want to spend that much time in a club, like a super club, without being under the influence. It's just not so I think the trend will continue to push towards lounges, places that you can have conversation, which is great. And of course, like, we live in a world where everybody wants to have, they want to be in an aspirational scenario. Everybody wants to be at the place that you can't get into. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of the thing. And right now, that's membership clubs.
I think that's accurate. I think Mike has a good point here. I think alcohol generally is clearly on the decline. A lot of it has to do with health, and people today are very health conscious. And a lot of the studies and impacts of what alcohol does to your body is pretty clearly bad. Like, people know it's not good for you. Obviously, people still do like it. There are other options, whether they're, other substances, which aren't great. But I do think a lot of people are trying to get away from it, whether that's clubs just not being the vibe anymore. Because people are like, I don't like the scene. I don't like the culture of a lot of clubs. I like EDM, but that's just me. A lot of people like to get into fit. A lot of people are really liking to get into fitness now. Like, fitness is obviously a huge thing. Let's go. I'm a big gains guy, so I'm huge about this. Super happy about it. Looks maxing for men and Pilates for women. That's great. That's great. So there is a decline. Alcohol companies are losing tons of money. It's not clear as to exactly why, but it's something that you could kind of, I don't know, you get it. I think just a lot of my friends are just not drinking as much alcohol as they used to, which is, I'd say, a good thing. What else we got? All right, let's see. What's interesting is I really want to use Coinbase. Like, I really want to just full port Coinbase, move all my stuff there, just call it a day, right? Like, trade stocks there, buy coin, and trade all my coins on Coinbase. But then it's just like, they make a handful of decisions every year where it's just so bizarre. It makes me concerned. Not to mention, they had very, we'll call it, irresponsible third parties controlling all their customer data, and it leaked like 5 to 10% of customer data to the world, which I think I was on that list. It's like, this stuff's ridiculous. Some of this stuff, it's like, some of the stuff, it's like, I really want to be there, right? Like, I want to trade on Coinbase. I want to just move all my trading there and just not have to worry about a billion different chains. Like, the product market fit is almost there, except they made one too many mistakes, one too many customer, whatever, like, too many accounts were locked for far too long, too much customer data was leaked, and I can't bring myself to do it. I want to be right there with you, Coinbase, but I can't. And it's frustrating to me. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. There really is so much to get through. And I don't want my throat to give out on me. Not today, Satan. All right, I do want to talk about this. All the finance guys are saying that New York is done, that everyone's leaving New York, that they're all moving to Austin, that they're all moving to Miami. They're wrong. Amex, like American Express, just announced that this is what they're doing. They're putting up a brand new skyscraper right by the World Trade Center. And it looks, to me, it looks beautiful. I think it looks great. These are all renders, whatever. This guy tries to poo-poo it. He's like, this is how it's actually going to look. It looks great, dude. It looks great. Look at all this outdoor space. It's cool. It's an interesting building. It's in a fantastic area. It's going to look great. Yeah, this is awesome. On a rainy day, is it going to look a little gray when everything on the planet looks gray? Yes. But this is great. I mean, this is awesome. Stay excited, New York. I know everyone's trying to tell you it's time to leave. It's time to go to Miami. Mom Donnie's in town. Let's get everyone move to Austin. Nah, finance bros. We still have a home here. All right. We still have a home in the New York area. We're still loved and appreciated. I mean, loved is maybe strong, but look at that. Thanks, Amex. Thanks, American Express. I like this. I like this a lot. What else we got? What else do we got here? See, this is interesting, but I don't really have much to say on this outright. Yeah, this might be a shorter one. Like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this one, to be honest. This show today. I want to. It's just like your boy is tired. Your boy has had a long 2 weeks here. Honestly, taking a quick Zycam. Your boy is tired. Your boy's been through the ringer for the last 2 weeks. So, like, I went to Colorado. It was great. But I went to Colorado. I came back. We had a biblical snowstorm here in the New York City area. Just biblical. So it's like every day something new. So your boy is we're pushing. But there's only so far I can push, you know what I mean? Let's see. What else are we going to get into? This Brooks stuff is bullshit. I mean, it was just kind of like, I don't even have a strong opinion on it. It's just stupid. It's the fact, to me, it's like the fact that there's a whole hyped up Zach XBT article where he's like, in 3 days, I am posting this thing. And it's like, all right, the guy did $200,000 of insider trading based off information that he had misappropriated from Axiom Exchange. Yeah, that sucks. Does it also suck that Axiom doesn't have the controls in place to safeguard against this? Yeah, that sucks. Axiom is clearly making some pretty tremendous mistakes here. But at the same time, it's just like, all right, another nothing. It's like kind of a nothing burger. It's like $200K. You probably made more money on the prediction market around like who is the one to. It's just same. What's the meme? It's like same shit every day. Same shit. Oh, what a meme. What a meme. But that's how it feels. It's just like another day, another idiot on the internet. Kid's like 19 years old. He's just an idiot on the internet who is smart enough to get involved in BD, but is suddenly inundated with power that he doesn't know what to do with. So he just starts misappropriating it. And it's sad. And then he gets Zach XBT in this thread is like, hey man, let's see. In this thread, Zach XBT is like, given Brooks is based in NYC, I think the case presents itself as a good opportunity for the Southern District of New York since it may fall within their jurisdiction. And then Brooks, the same day, goes on the internet and he's like, yeah, I know what I did was wrong. And he's like, yeah, I know what I did was wrong. This is like, dude, you are admitting guilt publicly. It's just same shit, different day. Idiots on the internet, scamming money, and being idiots on the internet. Like, it's just welcome to crypto. No wonder. It's like how many times? How many times? How many times can we go through the same pile of crap? But it's all right. All right. Now we're gonna get into it. Now we're gonna get into the Anthropic thing. And I don't know if I could talk on this for 45 minutes, but this is, I mean, it's by far and away the single most important thing. All right, there are at least another couple things I could bring up. All right, cool. Let me hop back to this. How do I explain this? Like, this is such a layered, it's such a layered story. Anthropic is going head to head with the Department of War. And it's like, okay, so what's going on? Let me just break this down, top down. I'm not even going to focus on this for the clip. If you guys are listening in, I would love to hear what you guys have to say on this. Oh, wow, there are people watching. Gregory's watching. Kieran's watching. Maybe they're still watching, maybe not. If you guys are watching, would love to hear you guys in the comments. If not, no problem. This Anthropic thing is crazy. Let me just try and break it down at a general level, and then, I'll try and bring this back around and explain it for a clip. Anthropic is going head to head with the Department of War. The Department of War, formerly the Department of Defense, wants Anthropic to basically give full access to the military for whatever lawful means that the military decides it wants to pursue. This comes off the heel. So, right, a lot of people know Palantir, right? A lot of people know Palantir. A lot of people know Anduril. Palantir and Anduril are both tech startups that have done amazingly over the better part of the last, 2, 3, 4 years, in large part because they're building excellent software, technologies, both physical and, software, hardware and software for the military. They're doing a great job at it. They've been blowing up, literally, actually, as a result. The only thing is, like, a lot of these, Palantir and Anduril don't necessarily they probably have their own internal LLMs, but they also use pretty extensively external LLMs. And one of the best, if not the best LLM externally is Claude, right? Claude from Anthropic. Especially after they released Opus 4.6, it's just way better, right? It is just a way better piece of technology. Now, the problem comes where after the Maduro raid, right? I think it was January 2nd or something like that. The United States raided Venezuela and kidnapped Nicolas Maduro, just yoinked them out of there. When was that? Hold on. Was that January 2nd? When was the Venezuela raid? January 3rd. Wow, that much time has passed already. So January 3rd, Nicolas Maduro was extracted from Venezuela. It comes out, I think, a week or so later, maybe a couple weeks later. Claude was used in the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Like, Claude, Anthropic's LLM, was used. To what extent? It's unclear. What exactly it was used for, we don't know. It does seem like at some point after that news came out, or around that time, someone from Anthropic, and seems like probably an executive, went to the Department of Defense and was like, hey, what's going on here? Or excuse me, the Department of War, and was like, hey, what's going on here? Are you guys using Claude for the military? And if so, for what purposes? Like, are you guys trying to are we just used for this, that, and the other thing? Or are we used to, like, determine whether or not we're shooting bullets at people? Like, what's Claude used for? That seems to have been the case, and there seems to have been a back and forth since that. And it's devolved, and it devolved rapidly. So let me pull this up. Pete Hegseth, I'm like blanking a little bit. There we go. Pete Hegseth gave Anthropic until Friday to back down on AI safeguards. Anthropic has not backed down. Can I just not sign up? I don't want to do this. Anthropic has not signed up. They've not backed down. share this tab instead. There's got to be, hold on. There's got to be some better tweets on this. Yeah. Okay. U.S. Pentagon made a final offer to Anthropic seeking unrestricted military use of its AI capabilities ahead of a Friday deadline. Details, as far as we're aware, include Pete Hegseth threatened to label Anthropic as a supply chain risk. That's big. We've never used that for, have we ever used that for domestic companies? Supply chain risk, domestic companies, U.S. I don't think we ever have. Yeah, I think it is unprecedented. Yeah. Yeah, that I don't think that's been done. So the Pentagon, via Pete Hegseth, is threatening to label Anthropic as a supply chain risk. Anthropic is resisting the use of its AI capabilities to surveil Americans. Anthropic is resisting the use of its AI capabilities for lethal military missions. Anthropic was recently awarded a $200 million government contract, and they have about 24 hours to respond. They said no. Anthropic refused to cede. It is a seed, right? Dude, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I can't be messing these up. Yeah, a seed. So Anthropic has refused to accede to these demands, which is obviously pretty big. This is obviously pretty big. This is so, like, what happens next is the big question here, right? Let me pull up what's going on. Yeah. This is probably the best summary. Anthropic accused China of trying to steal the Claude model. Backfires. Public roasts the hell out of them. They kind of did. Then they also told the Pentagon to leave them alone. Pentagon gave them until Friday to switch on the Claude Killbot Pro Max, or they'll blacklist their ass. That's real. Releases the COBO plugin. They released the COBOL plugin. IBM stock tanked 15%. Dario, the CEO of Anthropic, like, basically laughed about it. Pete Hegseth calls Dario a woke pussy. This is great. Randomly gives Claude a Substack to write blog posts. Yeah, that was weird. Published 3 reports saying Claude low-key wants to build chemical weapons. That's pretty scary. Drops open claw killer. Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the best, top down what happened. But let me go ahead and pull some of this stuff up. Because let's see. Actually, Anthropic. Yeah, for the Clippers, I'm gonna do my best here. This is a big one. So it's gonna be hard for me to kind of put this together in a succinct manner. Let's see. Elon getting mad at Anthropic for the DoD stuff is so funny when you find out they won't even use Grok because it sucks so bad. Yeah, Grok is just not good. It's just not there right now. Claude is substantially better. That's the thing. So that's the other thing. So this is Dario, right? This is Dario. He's the CEO of Anthropic. He's standing up against the U.S. government because the U.S. government, via the Department of War, wants full access to Claude as an LLM. The thing is, it's like, that tells you how good Anthropic is right now. That tells you how good Claude is. They won't use Grok, Elon Musk's AI. It's just not good enough. But they're willing to call Claude, or they're willing to call Anthropic effectively a foreign adversary by labeling them as a supply chain risk because they won't give them full access to it. And the full access that the Department of Defense wants is they want Claude to be used in automated targeting, and they want Claude to also be used potentially to like put together better pictures of people for surveillance purposes. So if you go on Twitter, if you go online, basically everyone is pro Anthropic and against the government on this. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to try and outline as best I can the government's response and what is actually a pretty compelling argument. Let me find a good picture of the bet. There we go. So Anthropic's holds are multi-pronged, right? One prong is the targeting, the automated targeting. The problem with the automated targeting argument is that while Anthropic has a point, right? Like Anthropic probably thinks, okay, 1 out of 100 million strikes, let's just say, 1 out of 1 million strikes, our bot is going to kill the wrong person. Claude is going to kill the wrong person 1 out of 1 million times. So you should not hand over automation to Claude. And it might be higher. It might be something like 1 out of 10,000 times. It's going to kill the wrong person. That makes a lot of sense until you think about, okay, how many times does a human kill the wrong person? And also, how many times do current automated systems in the military kill the wrong person? And if it's anything more than 1 out of, for example, if Claude does it 1 out of 1 million times, if it's anything more than 1 out of 1 million times, Claude is better. And it's a fair request to say, hey, we want to kill the wrong person less. Let us use your technology. That is a fair request, if you had to ask me. Especially, so and this is the other side of the argument. We're not talking about any technology, right? We're not talking about like a steel manufacturer. We're not talking about someone that just makes good computers. We're talking about large language models, effectively demigods, basically. It's like there's no other way to describe them. These super intelligence entities. And it's not just any super intelligence entity. It is the best one. Claude 4.6, like Claude Opus 4.6 is unbelievable. Anyone that tells you, oh, AI is not that good, AI is not really there right now, they're just not paying attention. Opus 4.6 is unbelievable. It is an unbelievable model. It's extremely powerful. Anyone that I know that's into AI, that's been following this stuff, has been interested in AI and is like one of those guys, a lot of the people that I know that are super into AI have been saying for months, oh, yeah, AI is going to take over. And you're like, sure, bro, get a life. This is the first model, Opus 4.6. Opus 4.6 is the first model where it's like, oh, my God, it's actually taking over. Like, it's not a joke. Not anymore. This model's unbelievable. Which also probably means that Claude has private models that are way better than whatever they have here. So all that to say, this is serious. Like, this is actually a serious request. And when you get into the business, it's like, okay, the best way I could liken it is when you're talking about creating super intelligent software, you are basically making nuclear bombs and then asking the United States government to not care that you're making nuclear bombs. It's like, it's that important. So on the automated targeting side, I actually personally agree with the military. I think the military has a point. Because it's the same argument like with Teslas. Anyone that's pro Tesla, that's like, well, Teslas, they kill less people on the road than normal cars do. So, and over the past 5 years, how many friends of yours have started using Tesla full driving? Quite a lot of friends. I've actually heard people drive in horrible stories. I've heard people go drunk driving and they're like, no, Elon's taking me home tonight. Like, it's incredibly garbage rationale, but people have come to trust it that much. It's that good. So yeah, Claude, when they're like, oh, we might kill people. Yeah, you might. But are you going to kill less people than the person would or than our current automated targeting systems? If the answer is yes, then yes. Also for the Clippers, if you see me say kill, you should probably bleep that. That's probably not going to do well on like anywhere that isn't Instagram, or excuse me, anywhere that isn't X. Also, if anyone's watching the show, I'd love to see you guys in the comments. I am watching the comments. Yeah. So, what else? What else do I explain on this? Okay. And to continue, then the next part of this is the surveillance, right? It's the surveillance part is really scary. Sean Parnell, who is the assistant to the Secretary of War for Public Affairs, says the Department of War has no interest in using AI to conduct mass surveillance of Americans, which is illegal, nor do we want to use AI to develop autonomous weapons that operate without human involvement. This narrative is fake and being peddled by leftists in the media. See, like I would believe you more if you just didn't say this part. If you just didn't say it's being peddled by leftists in the media, I would believe you more. Whoever's on comms for the Department of War needs to be fired. Like all these guys need to just stop putting out comms. Clearly, they have no idea what they're doing. Clearly, they have no idea what they're doing. And it makes it harder to believe when Anthropic is putting out statements saying they're requesting that we, A, mass surveil Americans, and B, create autonomous weapons. And then the Department of War says, no, it's the leftist media. It's not the leftist media. It's Anthropic themselves. That's why people are concerned. The Department of War needs to fire these guys in terms of just their comms. Get them out. Like, get someone else on comms. These guys, maybe they're great at admin. Maybe they do other stuff great. Sure. Their comms are horrible. Have them immediately stop posting to Twitter. It's just terrible. Let's see. Mass surveillance violates the Fourth Amendment, which is kind of a joke in the United States of America at this point, and has a chilling effect on freedom of expression. Yeah, so that's the thing. The U.S. says that they don't want to surveil Americans. I actually believe them. Because I've spoken with people, like, I've asked around. I'm like, hey, how much do soldiers actually care about not surveilling Americans, right? About protecting American privacy? And the answer is a lot. The American warfighter cares a lot about individual privacy and privacy rights of people. And they go to extreme lengths to make sure that they are not violating anyone's privacy. America's, especially after Snowden, the American warfighter tries very hard to make sure that American privacy is maintained. Abroad, if you live in Britain, if you live in an adversarial country, we probably don't care as much because you are a foreigner. It's how it works. Welcome to the way of the world. That's fine. Privacy abroad, being surveilled by Americans, that's the game. But privacy domestically should be maintained, and it should be maintained almost religiously so. The thing is, they say that they don't want to violate American privacy, and I believe them. But then there comes a question of how many contacts removed, right? So let's say you have bad person A, and bad person A has friends here, here, and here. Okay, from these friends, maybe one of these friends needs to be surveilled so that they could make sure that they get bad guy A. But if you're looking at bad guy B, what if bad guy B also has friends here and here? And then are bad guys here American? And if they're American, are we then just using American surveillance tools to surveil Americans because they happen to be 1, 2, or 3 degrees removed? And that's a real concern. So yes, surveillance of Americans directly is illegal, but with like a catch. Like there's an asterisk there. And we know, like for example, with the Snowden stuff, we know that had happened in the past. Like we know Americans in the past have been surveilled by the NSA and others. We know that. So it's a little like you really cock your head and you're like, what do you think we're dumb when you say it's being peddled by leftists in the media? No. And that's not it. Like, that's not the only problem. Hold on. Let me find this. What's his name? Mark Andreessen. Yeah. That's not the only problem. Back in 2014, Mark Andreessen here was, quote, very scared about meeting with the Biden administration about AI. This is in 2014. 2014. Jesus Christ. Back in 2024, Mark Andreessen was very scared after meeting with the Biden administration about AI. Why was Mark Andreessen very scared? He walked away believing they endorsed having the government control AI, allowing only a couple of companies who cooperated with the government to thrive. The entire tech lobby flipped on the Biden administration because of this. They don't want, like, the tech lobby, which flipped, sent tons of money to the Trump campaign, specifically for the purpose of not having the government control AI, is now in a situation where the government is trying to control AI. Fine. But is then also going to market make and label them a supply chain risk. At least that's what the argument is. That's the negotiation tactic if they don't comply, which is the exact fear that they had in the first place. We're in a weird spot as Americans. We really are in a weird spot. It's like we are pushing forward on this technology, which is the single most important technology that has been created since the internet. And probably, like, internet is number 1A, right? You know, maybe enhanced farming is number 2. AI might be number 2B, or might supplant that, might be number 1. It might be the single most important invention in the history of all inventions. And there might never be an invention that comes and like changes the world more than AI does. And we're now getting to a point where the US military clearly wants direct control over it. Congress is nowhere to be seen because Congress is laughable at this point. Congress does a better job at pointing and laughing at the president at the State of the Union than actually getting anything done. It's like it is remarkable how laughable Congress has become over the better part of the last 50 years. And all of that is going on at the same time that China doesn't care. China has actually no ethics on this stuff. Like, I'm not to be a China hater, but to be a China hater, they don't care. The amount of corporate espionage that comes out of China, the amount of intellectual property theft that comes out of China, and the amount of, they just don't care about, like, they don't have a democracy to slow them down. If they want to use AI systems to kill people, they will do so without hesitation. If they want to use AI systems to hack into foreign governments, to take this, to do that, they do not care. They don't care. So, in a practical sense, when we think about, okay, how should we approach a system, right? How do we approach the interaction between the US government and the US military, especially, and AI systems? It's like all of this isn't in a vacuum. There are adversaries that are trying to win and are trying to kill you. Like, they're actually trying to win in every way possible and destroy you on the back end. It's not even a joke. Like, if you work in tech, you know that I'm not fear mongering. Like, it's serious. The Chinese and the North Koreans, especially in crypto, are serious. I have friends at certain bases, right? Like I have a friend. Well, how do I say this? For the Clippers, omit that. I've heard of stories. I've heard of stories from certain bases where it's like the Chinese are sending people almost every week. Like, someone tries to wander onto a base and it's a Chinese national. And they're just hey, we're here. Just so you know, we're here and we're looking into your stuff and we're trying to find out as much as we can all the time. This is regular. Like, this is not fear mongering. This is just normal. This is just normal. And the United States has real adversaries. And in the United States, we have the luxury of just ignoring the fact that they exist because our warfighters are that good. They are actually that good. And their intelligence is that good. And they try that hard. We don't just spend money for nothing. They get a lot of stuff done. But at the same time, Anthropic has a point. If the table stakes are, in fact, personal surveillance, as they claim it to be, that is diabolical. And that, there's a reason why I stand with Anthropic to that end. Like, that's big. I'm huge for personal privacy. By the way, you don't have to be doing anything wrong for you to care about privacy. So this is probably, this is critical. This is critical. Not to mention, right? Let me find this. Hold on. There's another insane post. Yeah, this one's from Good Alexander. Anthropic PR be like, here are 15 plugins to coordinate the team you just fired for the app nobody uses. Make sure not to give Claude access to Tomahawk missiles, or it might kill everyone. The Chinese are stealing our shit, by the way. And here is a blog post written by our old model. Also, on that old model blog post thing, Claude is apparently Claude has interest in chemical weapons. Here's what's crazy about the chemical weapons and AI is about the most dystopian thing you could think of. Because when you really think about it, if you look into DNA, right? Like, if you've taken a biology class and you've studied DNA is just ACTG, right? In different pairs, different combinations. That's it. And it's code. It's like a computer. Your body is made of basically computer information. That's how it breaks down. Thing is, as AI gets really good at coding, it gets really good at understanding computers. And if it's really good at understanding computers, it might be really good at understanding DNA. And if it's really good at understanding DNA, its ability to create chemical weapons that specifically destroy your DNA and destroy your body gets really good. And then you think, wait a minute. What if AI creates chemical weapons that we just can't defend against? And then it gets really scary. Especially, right, like, you look at the big disease scare of the early 2020s. What if it's just like, we're probably not going to close down ever. Like, we're probably never going to close down like that again, or never at least going to want to close down like that again. But what if we actually have to? And what if someone makes a disease? Like, what if one of these AIs that is used by a foreign adversary, cough, China, cough, is actually really good? Then what? And what if it's like a really scary disease that is really effective? Then what? Yeah, it's a little blackpilling, huh? We're at a really different spot in the world than we used to be, I think. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we are. Wow. By the way, to the Clippers, just real quick, I'll take a moment to say hello. Puzzle or whoever, if you guys are watching on if you guys are watching currently, if you guys are commenting in the Telegram, please let me know, because I would love to know if you guys think I explained that well enough. Like, let me, because maybe I'll try another shot at it, you know. The Department of War. Wow, there goes there goes my voice on that. The Department of War wants to work with Anthropic, and they want Anthropic to make sure. How do I explain this? The Department of War wants to work with Anthropic, but they don't want to just work with Anthropic. They want to have full control over the AI that they work with. And Anthropic is pushing back. Whether or not that's a good move, I can't tell, because there's really good arguments to both sides. On one side, Anthropic says, we don't want to give them automated targeting, basically the ability to just shoot people at will. And they also don't want to give the Department of War the ability to surveil on anyone. As in, they don't want the Department of War to have Claude's basically god-tier surveillance systems into the lives of American citizens. Trump administration is pushing back on this pretty hard, pretty aggressively. So much so that they're arguing that Claude might actually be listed as a supply chain risk, which is something that's basically only reserved for foreign adversaries. So they'd be calling Anthropic a foreign adversary for not acceding to the requests of the Department of War. On one hand, the government has a point. If Claude is better at targeting than current automated systems and current humans and accidentally kills the wrong person less times, then it's better. Then it's better. And Claude has it. Like, there's a reason. There's a point to why the government would want to kill the wrong person less times. Like, it makes a lot of sense. It's a valid argument. And I think Anthropic's argument isn't as strong there. On the other hand, on the surveillance side, the U.S. government says, we don't want to surveil Americans. But people don't really believe that. People point to Palantir. Palantir keeps saying, we make it impossible to surveil Americans and have people not know. Like, we log everything. They're immutable logs. It is like, you can't touch it without telling anyone that, hey, I'm touching it. Like, it is obvious that you were surveilling. But then it's like, who's doing the monitoring? And also, as much as I want to believe you, we still had the Snowden thing. Like, Edward Snowden was still a thing. Edward Snowden still said, hey, the NSA at high levels was surveilling Americans, and other parts of the government didn't know. So people just don't really trust the government. The amount of trust for the government is at like all-time lows, especially after the Epstein files. It's just like no one trusts a single word out of the mouth of the government anymore. Meanwhile, Congress is nowhere to be seen. Congress should be working on this. This should be priority numero uno for Congress. How do we solve the AI safety problem? And just nothing. Nothing. They'd rather go and cheer USA, and mock the president at the State of the Union than actually solve the AI problem, which is the biggest problem of our time. It's not even close. It's like these people are just laughable, really. It's sad. It is sad. It's a sad state of being. But I don't know. All that to say, there are very good and very compelling arguments for both sides. The American warfighter does actually care, and they care about Americans, and they really do actually care about you. Whether or not you believe it, they do. The problem is there are people in the government that I don't know if I necessarily trust, and I don't know if you should. And if they're given, as the power of the government expands, I don't know if I want them to have that power. And I don't know how, I don't know if I want them to have that power. And while I might defer to Anthropic, I also don't want a corporatocracy. I don't want these people that I didn't elect, namely the Anthropic CEO, to be able to say, oh, this is what the American foreign policy should be, and America just has to listen. Because I didn't elect him. I didn't pick Dario to be the CEO of Anthropic. I can't get rid of Dario as the CEO of Anthropic. If he's the one that's guiding America on foreign policy issues, I don't have a say on that. And that does impact me. And that does impact the lives of people that I'm friends with and people of my peer group. When American men my age go to war and they have to make decisions that are based off people, I at least want to know that I voted for it, or at least someone did. Yeah. We're in a very interesting place as Americans in technology. Anyway, what else we got? Actually, speaking of which, Jack, the former creator of Twitter, who now runs Blocks, right? Blocks is the company behind Square, Cash App, Spiral BTC, Tidal, BitKey, and Proto Mining. They laid off 4,000 of their employees, 40% of their employees. It was the biggest layoff in S&P 500 history. The stock immediately spiked in response. I think it was up 10 to 15% on the day. There have been articles over the better part of the last 2 weeks that have come out predicting stuff like this. Predicting that companies will see AI, will see technology and where it stands today and think, it's time to cut people. It's time to cut our workforces. And it's starting. It's starting. The Citrini article was right. There would be companies that start cutting massively and doing so quickly. Even Jack outlined, look, we could do this slowly over time. But that would just be wrong. We're ready. We're ready to cut people now. We're going to give them 20-week severance, which is great. But we're ready. We're cutting people now, and we're moving on. The stock performed fantastically. People are bullish on it. Is that a good thing? TBD. It's great for efficiency, but people are losing their jobs. As people lose their jobs, they spend less. And if they're going to spend less, that might lead to more jobs needing to be cut. Look, just a thought. Just a thought. We are in, and this is also the same time that the YouTube creator, let me pull up the tweet. YouTube CEO. Or no, YouTube founder, I think. Yeah. This is Chad Hurley, one of the co-founders of YouTube, saying, hope everyone enjoys their last year of meaningful work. I cannot more thoroughly emphasize that if you are not paying attention to AI, you are wrong. You are wrong. You need to be watching what's going on. It is not ignoring it just because it makes you anxious is only going to make you more anxious. You need to be aware of what the status of AI is, who's winning, who's losing, what you need to do to protect yourself, because you are going to lose your job. If not you, your brother, your sister, your friend, someone will. It's that serious. And if you learn now, you probably can protect yourself, and you could probably be a part of like the new world that is going to form and make a lot of money in the process, to be honest. But if you don't, like, it's not a joke. Nothing is safe. There is no job that is safe, except maybe wood cutting. Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know, handcrafted soaps, maybe? Like artisans of some kind, sure, that's probably fine. But if you work on your computer, like, more than 80% of your day, you're probably cooked. Like, learn how AI works. Learn how it works. Mess around with it. Learn what good models are doing. And be aware. It is so critical. It is so critical. (2027 to 2028) is going to be an insane time. It is going to be an insane, insane time. That presidential race, wow, the 2028 presidential race is going to be crazy. We got 5 more minutes here. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here we go. See, this is just why people don't believe in AI. Oh man. This is why. Because it's like everyone says, "Oh, AI." Everyone says, "Oh, AI." You know, AI is the most important thing. It's the most important technology. And then they see 2 Waymos not figure out how to handle this intersection. This guy's stuck behind these 2 Waymos, and in the background, another Waymo is now stuck. So this guy is now stuck between 3 Waymos, a true rock and a hard place situation, except the hard place keeps coming closer to you. And they're stuck. They're legitimately stuck. So yeah, like people have, finally free. Finally free. Yeah, AI, you know, people are right to be skeptic when you see videos like this and you're like, damn, these computers are terrible. These computers are so dumb. Look how bad AI is. Reminder, though, this is the worst it's ever going to be. It is going to get better. And better and better and better. What else we got? Yeah, remember when Andrew Yang came out of nowhere in 2019 and was like, guys, AI's coming. Universal basic income is the solution. Like, the world is going to change rapidly. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, cool. Next. Yeah, no, the guy was right. Andrew Yang was right. Whether or not UBI is the solution is TBD. But he had a point. Like, it's very interesting going back and looking back in time at who was running. You know, I think there's a good shot. There's a good shot that 2028 is going to be the year of the independent. A lot of people don't really like the Democrats anymore. A lot of people don't really like the Republicans anymore. Both sides have gone very far in their respective directions. And the middle, there's a huge swath of people that do not feel represented. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if there were more very, very valuable. How do I say this? I would not be shocked if there were more very, very competent candidates that come out of the weeds over the next few years. 2028 is going to be a big election. It is going to be a big election. This is, and will probably define a lot of where America goes over the next 40 years. My opinion. Trump, wait, what did Trump say? On Anthropic? Oh, God damn it. No way. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is a problem. So Donald Trump just said the United States of America will never allow a radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins wars. That's not what they are. That decision belongs to your commander-in-chief and the tremendous leaders I appoint to run our military. Oh, boy. I saw the first word from the next line, and it's like, I know where this one's going to go. The left-wing nut jobs at Anthropic have made a disastrous mistake trying to strong-arm the Department of War and force them to obey their terms of service instead of our Constitution. Their selfishness is putting American lives at risk, our troops in danger, and our national security in jeopardy. Therefore, I am directing every federal agency in the United States government to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology. We don't need it, we don't want it, and we will not do business with them again. There will be a 6-month phase-out period for agencies like the Department of War who are using Anthropic's products at various levels. Anthropic better get their act together and be helpful during this phase-out period, or I will use the full power of the presidency to make them comply with major civil and criminal consequences to follow. We will decide the fate of our country, not some out-of-control radical left AI company run by people who have no idea what the real world is all about. Huh. That's tough. That is a tough site. Let's just be clear on a couple things. One, Claude is clearly the best AI out there. It is clearly the best. The U.S. military would not care that much if it wasn't the best. Two, they're not left-wing nut jobs. They're not. And all of the other major LLM providers are agreeing with them. They don't want this. This was exactly this. This is going to lose votes for the Republican Party. This was actually a huge sticking point for the tech lobby. The tech lobby decided in 2024 that they wanted to switch to Donald Trump in large part because they didn't want AI to be controlled by the federal government in the United States of America. And Donald Trump is calling them the radical left for thinking so. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Martinez, you in the chat, dude? Because this is crazy. I'm directing every federal agency in the United States government to immediately cease all use of their technology. The government has a point. The government does have a point. Automated targeting. If Claude is better than the average soldier or our current automation systems, if Claude is better, that is viable. Like, that's a real reason. That is a real reason. So I get it. On the surveillance part, if Anthropic is right, and the Department of War is actually requesting surveillance of American citizens, that's insane. It's obviously illegal. It is an illegal thing to do. However, it is obviously illegal. Like, it is illegal to surveil American citizens. We know this. The government knows this. However, and also, to be clear, the government goes way out of their way to make sure that they do not surveil American citizens. Like, American warfighters try very hard to make sure that they don't do so. However, there are people within the government that I don't necessarily trust, and that a lot of people rightfully don't necessarily trust. And there have been people in the U.S. government, historically, cough, NSA, cough, that have surveilled on U.S. citizens. And U.S. citizens, like, at mass scale, not single, one-off U.S. citizens for very targeted purposes. No, like at a mass scale. The problem, though, it's like China, you just keep saying it like it's nothing but China is actually still a problem. That is, like, it cannot be ignored. China is actually a problem. China does not have these guardrails. They don't care. They will just take anything. Like, they will take whatever AI that they can, throw it into their military. If it kills people, they'll cover it up. If it kills the wrong person, they'll cover it up. If it makes them more effective, they're going to do it. They're going to steal as much IP as they can. They've done so over and over again. And they're our adversary. Which, by the way, totally separate. In my opinion, the biggest mistake Donald Trump ever did was go soft on Chinese immigration, like via student visas, which is a known way, like it is known and well documented that China uses student visas to spy on American companies. But, someone probably lobbied. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's just tough. It's just tough. It is tough watching this, because I think that this is probably the most important thing that's going to happen in American technology and American politics, and for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and probably has resounding effects that last for decades. This is critical. This is AI is finally getting to a point where it is that good that the U.S. government feels like they need to step in. We've created, it's like that scene. It's like that scene from, what's the movie? Oppenheimer. It's like that scene from Oppenheimer where it's like, what have I created? What have we created with this AI stuff? And it really is that good. It is that good. And it will protect American lives. It will protect American warfighter lives. That's for sure. Palantir already does this. Anduril already does this. But what harms will it cause? China doesn't care. So, at the end of the day, people forget that the world is PvP. The world really is. It is PvP. The world is PvP, unquestionably. And people forget because America's been at the top for that long. But what if people start catching up? Game theory says when they catch up, that's when conflict is most likely. Just a thought. Martinez, you got any thoughts? Because I'm going to probably wrap this up here. My throat's starting to give out. It's tired. Might have to cancel my ChatGPT for Claude. I'm probably going to do the same, to be honest. I'm probably going to do exactly the same. I have a ChatGPT subscription. I'm probably canceling that for Claude. It's that good. It really is just that good. Yeah. Oh, that's not great. That is not great. Do I have an AI agent yet? No, I do not. I've been thinking about it. I have been thinking about it. Wow, that was a spike. Holy crap. This is just... I just can't help but think that this is probably going to be one of the biggest mistakes of the Trump admin, though, in terms of at least votes. This is not win votes. This is not win votes. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to hear this.
For all the differences I have with I don't personally think the Pentagon should be threatening DPA against these companies. For all the differences I have with Anthropic, I mostly trust them as a company, and I think they really do care about safety, and I've been happy that they've been supporting our warfighters. I don't personally think the Pentagon should be threatening.
There's your answer. This is insane. This is insane news.
Trust between America's institutions and our warriors. It should be a trust that demands we develop our finest military leaders with the highest standards so that they are equipped to fight and win our nation's wars with absolute lethality, from basic training to the halls of higher education. That said, our senior service colleges have always been expected to act in the interests of this principle.
I'm going to bookmark this. I'll probably respond to it later. My throat is out. My throat is definitely out at this point. Yeah, the fact that OpenAI and Anthropic are taking similar stances is crazy. And the only other comparable is Gemini, right? And Gemini had the whole Maven project, and their constituency, like Google, is not about this either. I don't know what AI company is for this, like Grok. But here's the thing, Grok sucks. It's like the worst. Yeah. This is the single most important thing facing America's technology industry and probably America on the whole, to be honest, for the next 3 to 5 years. Probably has ramifications that extend for decades. I don't even think that's hyperbole. Thanks, Martinez. We're going to wrap this puppy up, and then I'm going to get out of here. This has been a fun show. Probably going to keep going with it on Tuesday. I hope it's clippable. Or on Sunday, sorry. Hope it's clippable. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.